we will again take another fabulous and short road trip along the central west of New South Wales and enjoy some magnificent landscape, scenery and visit some interesting places, which I am certain we will all enjoy. My name is Lawrence Gatt. We may all remember the devastating bushfires of the 2019-20. I stopped for a short time to capture on camera the stark landscape created during the bushfires inferno of 2019-20. Thousands of bushland hectares were destroyed by the fiery storms, killing and injuring wildlife including human lives. It is well over 2.5 years since those terrible events. Our native bushland communities will burn to a crisp, but like the rise of the phoenix, it will rise again. The sweeping fires hazarded much needed nutrients to descend the soils from falling ashes, promoting a fresh new regrowth with native grasses and colorful herbs. Many seeds will lay in the ground for many years, waiting for the fire to arrive. In years to come, fire will visit again to maintain the biodiversity of animals and plants. Fire is most needed if our native species is to survive. We drive through the historic town of Lithgow and Kapiti along the Castlereagh Highway, heading north towards Mudgee. But first, we stop and visit a man-made structure. Entering the dam is through a deep cutting inside a hill made of prehistoric rocks, millions of years old, when dinosaurs roamed the earth. One of their descendants, an Easter grey kangaroo, startled with my presence, hopping away to a safer cover. Walls made of volcanicalistic sandstone and mudstones, formed millions of years ago, slowly crumbling to the exposed weather. Fascinating lichens-encrusted rocks, with splashes of yellow daisies, growing in sandy, gravelly soils. This magnificent dam was built in 1984. It supplies water for irrigation for the towns of Mudgee and Gulgong. The dam foundations are weathered Devonian rocks dated back more than 400 million years ago. The rock-filled dam wall is 67 meters high, and the water depth is nearly 60 meters. At the base of the dam wall, water is released downstream for irrigation. Canoeing, fishing and camping is very popular in Windermere Dam with many of the locals and tourists. The dam's unlined rock-cut spillway, where cut rocks were used for the building of the dam wall. It is always fascinating to meet some of the local insects, like these jumping spiders, observed on the dam wall safety railing. I continued north towards Mudgee on a cool autumn morning. I stopped briefly on the side of the road to stare and admire at the surreal and fascinating event, as early misty clouds sweeping against mountain tops, surrounding hills and valleys, lit up with the soft and gentle light reflected by the rising sun. A truly magical spectacle in the making. We continue on our way north of Mudgee. I decided to turn off the Castlereagh Highway to have a short break and to explore like this magnificent landscape of silky cumulus clouds sailing low across the land. We have arrived at the historical town of Gulgong, and I will camp here for the night at the town showground, and we'll spend some time exploring this fascinating and historical town. It's the Wild West of the mid-late 1800s. Gulgong is a 19th century gold rush town located on the Central West Tablelands and Central West region of the Australian New South Wales. The town is located some 300 kilometers northwest of Sydney along the Castlereagh Highway and 30 kilometers north of Maisie. Gulgong has a population of 2,520 people. The industry in Gulgong is wine production, wool, wheat and coal mining. This is no ghost town by no means. The street shops and streets are almost busy with locals and tourists. Much of its old town remains, with all its buildings preserved and looked after to their original 19th century character to this day. The famous bush-poet Henry Lawson lived briefly in Gulgong in early 1870 as a child. Visiting the old town of Gulgong is like travelling back in time during the early 19th century. Gold was discovered at Red Hill in 1870 when 800 people were digging in mines, and 32 tons of gold was discovered that year. The War Memorial Shrine, listing the names of many brave men who lost their lives during the First and Second World Wars. As we leave the town of Gulgong, we continue on the trip north along the Yulin Road. Our next stop is to visit a historical, spiritual and fascinating landmark for all of us. We will turn off left of the main road onto a dirt road. We are entering inside a eucalyptus woodland, land of the Wiradjuri Indigenous people. We arrived at the site car park and started on the walk along a narrow and winding dirt track amongst a eucalyptus woodland with tall native grasses and other vegetation, closely hugging the sandy walking track. Nothing is more exhilarating than partaking on a walk, exploring our unique native flora and fauna only to be found in Australia. A word of caution: take care during summer months with snakes in the area. The narrow sandy track heads uphill and a little uneven. We nearly reached the sandstone overhang, close to the historical site. I would like to pay my respect to the Wiradjuri people, owners of this land. I am quite certain that we will all be mystified for what we are about to experience. Mystique and awe-inspiring ancient handprints created by the Wiradjuri people hundreds and thousands of years ago. This land was very important to the Wiradjuri Aborigines, cultural and spiritual. Are the Wiradjuri people manifesting gratitude of their spirit motherland for providing all their needs? They lived and hunted on these grounds as they travelled further west into New South Wales. Truly, the hands impressions of the Wiradjuri women, men and their children on their land that they loved and respected. The dreaming of their spiritual Mother Earth, hands on rocks, animals and plants, lives to this day and for many generations to come. We are all children of Mother Earth, and our needs for survival are no different from that of the Wiradjuri people. Our life depends on it. After our unforgettable hands-on rock experience, we get back on Newland Road. We stop briefly in the town of Turil, population 105. A close encounter of unleaded and diesel kind. I have arrived a little too late for an unleaded top-up. Wish I can travel back in time during the 60s and the 70s. In the far distance is a reminder of the catastrophic bushfires of the 2019-20. Surreal and peaceful scenery with gentle hills cleared from all native vegetation for animal grazing. We are all fascinated when witnessing work of art by the hand of Mother Nature, like the split rock broken by its own weight perfectly in identical halves, and a gum tree took life in the center. It's a tiny rock remnant that remained being a part of a large sandstone outcrop. It must have taken eons to shape. Rain, sun and the wind are the tools that nature will use to reduce this large mass of sandstone, millions of years old, back to its original loose sand and minerals. Another piece of art, this time by humans. What is its significance, if any? I do wonder. If anybody knows, please put it in the comments. We stop briefly in the little town of Birua. Birua is located between Danadu and Leadville. A railway station was opened in 1909, but it is no longer in service. In 1865, a Chinese bushranger named Sam Poo shot and killed a policeman named John Ward. This is certainly a quiet and peaceful little town, and the only live detected in the whole place is these 4 ponies, and these grotesque worn-out dummies dressed up as Santa and his helpers. I must say, it's weird and unusual, and very original, and I would like to congratulate the resident of this peaceful, sleepy town for his lively, colorful exhibition. Peace and tranquility of this coastal little town suddenly being shuttered when out of nowhere a railway diesel loco thundered across the level crossing across Castlereagh Highway. An unexpected surprise to our short story. We have reached near the end of our story. An awe-inspiring of our fragile and beautiful world. And I would like to make a short statement. Our world is the most beautiful planet in the cosmos, supporting a diversity of life found nowhere else. It is our duty and responsibility to take great care of our home earth. It is the only one we have. And please subscribe and thumbs up if you like. I do appreciate your comment. Thank you.